Morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel. It's 8:30 a.m. Crazy day in the market yesterday. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Tech selling off, and the rest of the market kind of followed. Now, if you were live with me in my room, I was telling everyone in there, we're going to get a rally. Okay? And there was two things that went on yesterday. Ticks. Now, people in my room know I talk about ticks, right? The NYSE tick and the Nasdaq exchange tick in particular. Yesterday was a day where you pay attention to the ticks, especially in the Nasdaq exchange. They were red. They were under zero for a while. When that happens, all pops will be sold. So I put my long on the back burner. On the back burner. Okay? I kept saying, nope. And I missed actually a short scalp. It ran into a bearish for value gap in my community. And one of the guys in there got that short, but I wasn't going to chase it, so I didn't get that. And then once the SPY took out last week's lows, and Nvidia hit last month's lows, last week's lows, and went lower, I was on call for a long. Now, I jumped the gun a little bit on my first attempt. I did get some positive excursion, but I knew when I got in, it was more of like a B minus trade. Okay? I waited all day. That's not an excuse. That's probably a little of the reason. Even it wasn't horrible. Okay? Now, what did we need? We needed one more sweep of liquidity to set it off. Let me show you very quickly what I'm talking about. So in the SPY, now I traded futures, but in the SPY, don't matter, same price action. This is what you needed. That sweep of the lower day, and you open back up at last week's lows. Okay? This is where I got long, somewhere in here. Right? And then I got stopped. This candle, this is the important one, swept these lows. Once that happened, I got long somewhere in here. Okay? And then this is a 15-minute, so it looks a little better. In a 5-minute, you'd see that there was a lot of back and forth. I wound up hitting my target. I had a 26-point winner off of a 10-point risk. That was live in my room, and I hit my target. Okay? So that was a good day. Took away that early loss. That's the beauty of risk management. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, now yesterday, also, now I give all these golden nuggets while I'm watching the market. I said to them, my community, I was like, listen, this market is not very weak overall. Okay? And to look at the daily levels of SPY and QQQ. I was saying when we came down to the 50-day moving average and last week's lows, look what happened. We started to get a wick. We took out 3 days. The weaker market starts to push down here, right? Look at the QQQ. It actually broke a 3 daily low, and I was like, whoa. When the candle was here, I was like, wow, man, that is very bearish. But then guess what happened? We hit the 100-day moving average, and we almost closed back inside the range. Now, overall, you look at these charts. We're not doing nothing. This is garbage. This is why the market's hard. Okay? This makes you feel like, oh my God, we're crashing, and then we close right back up to the previous day's lows. Oh my God, and then we wind up closing here. Very difficult price action. That's why you have me. Okay? That's why you have me to guide you. Now, I don't know who's in my community members are in here right now or not, but I am guiding, stating what we should see, what the market should do, what generally I see happen. Yesterday was a clear day where tech was so weak. Now, when tech is that weak, generally I'm like, ooh, I'm all about that short. I'm all about that short. If we get a pullback, I'm all about that short. But the key in this was the overall market was not that weak. We'll get into it in internals recap. Okay? That was the edge. And I just need it for NVIDIA at the bottom, really. And we would get that lift. That's the edge. Knowing internally how this market looks. And what happens in these kind of days? You had a trend day lower, right? Now, true market weakness is everything is bloody red. It was not. True. Now, like I said, in the past, I would look to short. And there was an opportunity to short. The first, actually, sense of buyers was sold. But I knew from my past experience that generally that's a poor short. And I needed to switch my hat to a long. And that turned out to be the 26-point winner. Okay? So, with that being said, let's get into it. I feel like I'm a little passionate right now. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure in the markets along supply and demand. Gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That is what I bring and share with you and come up with game plans. I use anchored VWAPs, market internals, some ICT concepts. My weekly expected move indicator that is worth the price of gold right now that you get for free on my Discord. Okay? Now, if you want, please join me every morning. Give you the market story, the economic calendar, the market news, the leaders and the laggers. Basically what the market's doing, why it's doing it, technical analysis, followed by the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Okay? So, now, if you want that in-depth coverage that I'm talking about before, where you're going to have somebody that's guiding you all day, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Trust me, I will not steer you wrong. I am very patient. I am very patient. Okay, that can be attested to from my community members. I am very patient. I sit there, I wait, sniper, 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 waiting in the grass. I'm the cheetah, I'm the lion. In the grass, waiting. There's a gazelle limping around. And then I pounce. All right? That's what I do. Now, let's get into the futures watch list here, all right? Let's look at this together, folks. Silver, my lord. I almost added yesterday. I didn't. It's okay. I still have a core position, but look at that. It's up almost 9% again. Okay? That might be the pullback to get into. Gold up 2.77%. Russell's up 0.47. Dow's up 0.29. 10-year yield's up 0.21. ES up 0.15. Crude is basically flat. Dollar's flat. 30-year bonds sold slightly. Nasdaq down 0.26. The VIX is down 1.17. Bitcoin is down 1.29. Went down to like 74,000. Ethereum down 3.62. All right. Let's go into Mag 7 Plus. Eli Lilly. Believe they reported earnings. Okay. Up 8.23%. Woo, monster. Google, Alphabet. I just call Google. Up 0.89. They report earnings today after the market close. Apple up 0.30. Amazon up 0.24. Laggard, Meta. Meta down 0.40. Coinbase getting slaughtered with the Bitcoin weakness. AMD reported earnings after the close. They beat, but we'll get into it why they are down. Moving on. Top sectors. Uber reported earnings. That must have been decent. NEM, that's your miners. They're up. GE Vernova, my lord. GE Vernova, my lord. Your boy's in that at like 286. 286. It's almost $800 a share. I just trimmed too, and I'm like, I generated capital. I can't complain, but man, I wish I still had it. But I'm waiting for some pullback to add to that thing. My God. That makes me feel good. Caterpillar up 0.63. Johnson & Johnson up 0.58. Qualcomm's going to report earnings up 0.22. Who's lagging today? Oracle. United Healthcare down 0.39. Salesforce down 1.11. Palantir down 1.54 after the monster earnings. Gave me probably some profit taking. All right, Granular. Enphase. Woo! My lord. Enphase. Remember, solar. That's your solar. Up 24%. Wow. Supermicrocomputers up 10%. They reported earnings. MGM up 8.52. Silver, there you go, up 6.8. I think this is Emerson up 5.20. Gold junior miners are up. All right, Five Below. All right, let's get the laggard. Is there laggers this morning? Yes, there is. Boston Scientific down 9.68%. Chipotle almost down 6%. Unity Software down 4.52. Skyworks down 3.66. Texas Instruments down 3.20. And Iris Energy down 3.13. Tied to Bitcoin. Okay? There you go, folks. There you go. Sectors. Healthcare. Eli Lilly, number one holding in healthcare, up 0.75%. Believe it or not, Eli Lilly's in the QQQ. Okay? Industrials, that's your Uber. Uber is number two holding in industrials, up 0.66. GE Vernova is in that as well. Communications up 0.35. That's your Google, your Meta, your Netflix, utilities up. All right. Who's down this morning? Semis. Semis are down. They're risk off today. Technology is down again. Does that come to life when the market opens? I don't know. All right. All right, folks. Let's go to the morning brief in my Discord from my newly upgraded OpenClaw bot. All right, here we go today. Economic calendar, 8:15 a.m. Okay? That was your ADP. That was your ADP. They came out. It doesn't look like I did anything. We can get into it later. Then we have 9:45 a.m. We got S&P Global Composite PMI, Services PMI. 10 a.m. ISM Non-Manufacturing PMI. Okay? So, needless to say, I'm probably not doing much till after 10 a.m. till the dust settles. Until the dust settles. Now, Trump tracker. Shutdown ends. President Trump signed the sprawling spending package into late yesterday, officially ending the partial government shutdown. White House schedule. Trump is scheduled to meet with economic transition team today to finalize additional sub-cabinet roles. Markets watching for any trade-related commentary. 10-year yield remains strictly at 4.279. Okay. Let's see here. Volatility check. VIX jumped up to 17.73, but the VIX was higher than that at one point yesterday. Okay. Earning highlights. AMD beat. Okay. That is incorrect. See, this bot is not getting everything right. Okay. AMD is not up pre-market. Eli Lilly beat. We know that. Super Mario Computers beat, M-Phase beat. That makes sense. Chipotle, narrow beat, but shares under pressure as market digest the 2026 outlook. Crypto highlights: Bitcoin traded at 74,927, hit its lowest level since April 2025, supported 74,000, is being tested. Okay, Ethereum trading at 2253, still searching for a bottom alongside the border risk off move in crypto. Vibe. Momentum is decisively bearish this morning as liquidations continue to drive the price action in crypto. Today's earnings in focus: Google, ARM, a semi, Qualcomm, a semi, and Snap. Right? That's what we have going on today. All right. That was your market news. All right. We can get a little more color on that. There's always more to talk about on that. Okay. Now, as far as the ADP employment, that was a miss. Consensus was 48K. We only got 22. All right. So, moving on. The juice. Excuse me. I think I might have to sneeze here. Excuse me. I sneeze in packs like a machine gun. So, there was a couple there you guys didn't have to hear. Okay. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? Here we go. We know Alphabet's up because of the earnings coming up. AMD stock's up 9.5 after the semiconductor forecast a slight dip in quarterly revenue. Rekindling doubts over how effective it can take on Nvidia in the red high AA market. Eli Lilly stock soared 6.5. The drug maker offered up upbeat sales. Uber stock slumped. It might have slumped, but is up now. So Chipotle reported falling traffic. Let's see how Supermicro Computer stock gained 10%. Tech company raises annual revenue forecast to sustain demand for its AI Optimus servers. Okay. Novo Nordisk stock dropped 3% after Wegovy maker issued a sales warning for 2026, citing lower prices. Whoa. Right, that's the competitor to Eli Lilly. Mondelez stock fell 4.2 after the Cadbury parent forecast a subdued year ahead. Stanley Black & Decker stock fell 3% after the tools and outdoor solutions provider revenues fell short. All right. Now, let's see if there's anything here. Anthropic's new AI tools deepen sell-off in data analytics and software stocks. Now, that brings me to bots. I am using one myself. I let my friends know about it. It is friggin' nuts what this bot could do. It's the future. It's the future. Now, I recently had ClaudeBot and upgraded to OpenClaw, and whoa, that made a big difference in the intelligence, in the quickness. It's got a new Gemini model, a lot quicker. Oh, it's noticeable right off the bat. So if you have ClaudeBot, upgrade to OpenClaw. Okay, it's making software fall. Okay, because it's taking a lot of the jobs away. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just read this. U.S. stock index futures were muted after a bruising slide in software, Claude, and broader tech shares in the previous session, as investors grew wary that the rapid advances in artificial intelligence could disrupt long-standing software business models. After markets results from Alphabet, along with earnings from Qualcomm and ARM, are in focus and expected to shape sentiment around tech spending and offer fresh direction for big tech valuations. With key government gauges such as non-farm payrolls and jolts delayed, traders will look more closely to private sector data, starting with ADP's January employment. Okay. I think we went over a lot of this news. I don't see anything here that's that important. Moving on. This is our time for our for our market internals recap. Boy, when I say this is my bread and butter, okay, this is an edge that is so critical. So critical. I'm telling you right now, I'm blind without that. I'm blind without it. Okay? Right here, this is where ticks started to just stay red. Let me show you ticks. Okay, I'm going to show you the day in NASDAQ exchange. I'm going to see if I can, let's see here. That's what I'm talking about. You see that? That, my friends, if you see this, now I know not everybody has this, where it paints under. I'm telling you right now, it don't matter if you get a little reprieve in ticks. As long as it stays below zero, every pop will get sold. People in my community can attest to this. I was like, all right, everybody, hold on. We're going to keep falling. We need to hit a liquid level in order for me to change my mind. Okay? Very important. Very important. Okay. Now, that was your ticks from yesterday. Okay? Going back, internals. This was just really ugly. We were down to a minus 800. That is a very, very bearish reading. Now, like I said in the past, when I've had this, I was like, ooh, this, I'm gonna short. But what I told you was, look at this market. Industrials was up, staples, energy, right? Look at the Valdez, and all these is volume going into up stocks and down stocks, and then the ratio. When it's red, that means more volumes going into down stocks than up stocks. When it's green, more volumes going into up stocks versus down stocks. When the ratio is a 1-to-1, that is not very weak. Look at the ADD of the NYSE exchange. Actually closed with 186 advancing. Think about that. That's the whole NYSE stock exchange. Right? NASDAQ was minus 755. That's not bad. S&P 500 was a plus 44. You get what I'm saying. The overall market wasn't selling off. It was tech, which is the market cap weight. That's what does move a market. But when you want all out, oh my gods, everything needs to be weak. This needs to be minus 400. This NASDAQ exchange needs to be minus 2,500. Same with the NYSE. These need to be at least 2 to 3 to 1 negative. That's when you know, whoa, this is bad. All right? Moving on. Dailies. Here we are. Dailies. I'm going to try to do this kind of quick because I already kind of covered this. Okay? Bottom line. Took out these 3 days. Closed here. We're back in no man's land. Where we are now, 690. Okay? We are at a little above yesterday's close. Okay? Kind of nothing to see here. Futures. Look at this trading. It's horrendous. And we're just in the middle of this crap. Expect more difficult markets to trade. Expect it. Okay, we did sweep. Now look what we're doing now. Make sure you understand this. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I can just trade what I see and then pick my spot like a sniper, like I said earlier. All right, QQQ came down to the 50-day moving average. Then got bought up. Where are we now? 614.34. So this is relatively weaker because tech is weak. You have a swing low here. That is also a previous month lows. Do we hit it? I don't know. We're still kind of in this mess. Futures. We still are below those major levels. The most traded price of the rolling year, the rolling month, we are under them. So this is definitely more bearish. Okay. You can see in the 100-day moving average, we hit that, we rejected off it. Now we're at where? Last week's lows. We're at last week's lows. Let's look at that breath. How's that breath smell? Let's see it. It is deteriorating a little bit. We're back to 62% of stocks in the S&P 500 over their simple day, 50-day moving average. That's our breath. Not horrible. It's working itself way back to the middle. Okay. Moving on. Hourlies. Hourlies. First start with the ES. What is going on with this hourly chart? Okay. Here we are, folks. You're in a bad area here. Okay. Let's go over it. All right. Most traded price of the current year is right here. Most traded price of the rolling year is here. Yucky. Look at this range. You're in the middle. Horrible. Horrible trade location, folks. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Do not trade in this. Do not. Now, again, I always say this because one of my good friends is like a scalper of all scalpers, where story doesn't matter, a lot of things don't matter to him, right? And he might get a couple points or ticks or whatever. However, I only speak how I trade, and most people trade. You want to get a decent move. Do not trade in this noise right in here. You will get chopped up. I don't even care if you tell me, hey, I made money in that noise. Great. You could have went to Atlantic City. That does not mean anything to me. Okay? Now, when I first started trading, that would mean something. Oh, you made money in there? Oh, great. Don't be a sucker. That's what I said yesterday. Okay? So, what do we need to concentrate on today? We are accumulating, correct? So, we want to test that swing low near 69.30. What are we going to do here? Well, be on the guard. Be on guard. You got poor structure to the downside, poor structure to the upside. Look at what we did. I've been talking about this ad nauseum. Look, poor structure all the way up. We consolidate it, and look, poor structure all the way down. It's symmetrical. It always works that way. So, we want to see what's the test here around 69.67 and 69.30s in the ES. Other than that, it's going to be a noise to me. That's it, folks. That's how we look at it. It's not the greatest area to trade. Let the market show you its hand. Do not be a sucker. Okay? And whenever I talk like that, the harshness, the coldness, as some of my friends might say, know why? Because I've been that sucker. Okay? I've been in the markets for 7 years. I've been trading with a process-oriented futures model for maybe a little over 2 years. I was more options for a lot of those years. Okay? Now, I have a lot of wisdom that I went through the garbage already. Chasing, breaking rules, tilt, thinking I know I can outsmart the market. Oh, wait a minute, this news is not really the real numbers. I know what's really going on, and we're going to... Nope, none of that works. And what makes that journey difficult is because you will be right. I will say, guys, this jobs market data is bogus, it's fugazi, it's corrupt, and let's say we sold off, and I could say, I told you so. See, that's the hard part about trading. You can get validated when you still don't know anything. You think you know. You don't. You don't know. You just don't. Markets, you're not smarter than the market. Nobody is. Okay? Nobody is. So, NASDAQ. NASDAQ is relatively weaker. You could just see it in the chart. Okay? We also had the symmetric move. Poor structure cleaned. Okay? Now, we're at that swing low right now. Accumulation. This swing low is going to tell me everything. Right here. What do? Do we displace, close lower? No. Then we're going to hit this swing level. If we sweep it, well, then we're going to hit that swing level and try to distribute higher. Poor structure. Okay, let's see. Here's our daily candle for that's a pretty bearish candle. Look at that. It's like an inverse hammer. Our last 4 hours is here. Okay. That's the NASDAQ. Pretty simple. NASDAQ's pretty simple. You got your 25355s, the swing lows, and you got your 25513s about at the swing high here. Swing low, swing high. That's all you should care about. Okay, that's all you should care about. And then if we go up and we have some strength, boy oh boy, we could go right back to here. All right. All right. Let's end this, folks. Let's end this. Am I alone today? That's the question. And I always say it doesn't matter because this is part of my process, right? Everybody's got to have a process. I love the process. I love repeating every day what I do because it makes it just feel nice. All right? You do the same thing. You do the same thing. You do the same thing. I don't roll out of bed in my underwear and just open the market and trade. Right? You got to treat this with respect. All right? This profession, whatever you want to call it, they always say, you're going to just go into a surgery room and do a brain surgery their first day? And you're going to be good? No. You're going to go and roll up into the NBA and just think you're going to be good? No. The only difference is you might have a Jeremy Lin day in an NBA if it's like trading and you think you're good. See, in the NBA, you won't have that. Me and you would not have a day of 30 points. And we were nobodies. We wouldn't do that. But in trading, you might. And that's where trading gets hard, folks. Man, it can confirm to think you know what you're doing. Even when I traded in COVID years, options, I was like, this is great. Well, the market was giving everybody a gift, thinking they know what they're doing. It always humbles you. Wait a minute, I'm just buying everything and it just doesn't always go up now. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think this market is a swing trade nightmare. If you try to swing trade SPY and QQQ, it's a nightmare. This is not good for swing trading right now. No. Maybe individual stock, not the indices right now. It is not good. Hard. I'm not even looking at options right now to swing anything. Might as well throw my money in the garbage. Okay? Let's look at this. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing right now. Okay? Look at our range from yesterday. A monster range, 130 points. And look at our overnight session, this little baby. This little baby session. It's kind of balanced. Where, at the most traded price of the current year and the rolling year, it's just horrible trade location, folks. This whole overnight session is accumulation. We just talked about it. All right? We just talked about it. That's the beauty. I don't have to go into too much detail. We're going to get right into scenarios, all right? Right into the nitty-gritty. Right into the nitty-gritty. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. Now, do I have a bias right now? Not really, but I'll just start off with the bull case. We know this is our swing low. Right here, overnight lows. I'm not going to be the sucker and trade in this mess. I want to see what we do here. What do we do? Well, if we do this, close back in here, oh yeah, that's a long, folks. And you hit overnight highs. Now, if you break up out of this most traded price of the year in the week and you hold it, well, yeah, we're going to take care of this poor structure and go all the way back to at least 7,010. Simple as that. Poor structure is above. Okay, conservatively, you might say, hey, I'm not confident in trading the sweep. I'm more confident if we break this overnight highs and pull back, fine, then you get that move. That's it for longs. Shorts. You already heard my short. Well, let's say we come up here and go whoop, and then we close back in. There's a sweep. Well, guess what? You're at least going down to the overnight lows. Now, do you want gravy on top of that? Well, what if we do this and we just start doing this a little bit? Yeah, and the market says, yeah, this is not the greatest structure, and we're going to take out yesterday's lows. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Now, door number 3. This could be a little balance range for a little bit. And we could do this. Boop, 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 until we maybe break out. I don't know. I will be prepared, though. You trust me on that. All right? NASDAQ. Now, notice the difference. The ES session is like right smack in the middle of yesterday. The NASDAQ overnight is kind of selling off right now a little bit to the lows, right? Breaking that swing. Okay? It's down in the lower end of yesterday's range because it's relatively weak. It's relatively weak. Okay? So, break it out. We know our big levels. This is how you know this is more bearish, right? Remember, ES is at a big volume of trading, high volume nodes. NASDAQ is below it. Is below it, folks. That makes it more bearish structure. Remember, it's 34% of the market cap weight is the XLK in the S&P 500. Okay? So, we talked about this already. All right? So, we'll get into it. I'm going to go right into scenarios because I explained a lot already in the hourly chart. NASDAQ scenarios. Let's do it. Now, we're breaking that swing low. We just had accumulation, right? So, right there. Overnight lows are being made. Could go lower. Okay? We did hit this demand zone yesterday and bounced. Now, this is a good test. This is a good test. Okay? We're going lower. So, destination could be yesterday's lows, 25218s in the demand. Okay? So, what would I look for? Now that this is rolling, right? At all this trading, let's see what happens. Okay? Destination would look like the liquid level of yesterday's lows, previous day's lows. Now, you're going to want to watch the reaction here. You got a swing low here, yesterday's lows. I want to see how we react here. Now, I like that the market's close to this liquid level because the market will give me a shot to go, oh, it's not that weak. And then I can look to get the reversal. And then try to attack that overnight highs. If the overnight highs break and you break over the most traded price of yesterday, you could then take this poor structure out. There's single prints here and you can go right back up to your 2, 5, 8, 7, 5s. That would be, I'm giving you, why did I give you that? That's the bull. Why did I do that? My bad, my apologies. Let's do that again. This is a long, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Let's say we sweep. Whoop, come up, lower high. There's your long, target overnight highs, and then go way back up there, okay? Now we're getting a little buying here. So, another scenario. This could be the sweep. Now we close inside here for the market open. You could just drive right up to the overnight highs and then it's off to the races. I don't know. shorts. I just showed you one, but I'll put it up there again. Now, if we dribble lower, we should look to test the yesterday's lows. Okay, what if we do this and we close there in a half hours and we do this? Yeah, we're probably gonna fall. Okay, but the way this market's been is I don't know if that's too much viable. Now, another long scenario. Well, let's say we come back up here and sweep the overnight highs, hit the month to date anchor VWAP, go back into range. That is a short, and see if you can tag yesterday's lows. All right, that's all I'm looking for, folks. Now look, this could be a sweep. We close back in here, you go long. All right, that's my analysis for today. Smash that like button if you enjoyed that. All right, help out my channel. Now, as always, I would love for you to join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you the market news, the market story, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, and technical analysis. And I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Now, you wanted more in-depth coverage, and I mean more in-depth. I mean 20,000 leagues under the sea depth. You join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? I mean, seriously, what are you waiting for? I'm pretty much live every day. So notice in my room, I don't have a ton of posts because I'm talking constantly, giving golden nugget, golden nugget, golden nugget. Okay? Come join. See what it's like to be in there. They listen to what I'm saying. Okay? All right. All right, everybody. Have a great day. No trade is a trade. Cash is a position. Be the sniper. But if Mario hears me, be the sniper and actually take a shot. He actually took a couple shots yesterday in my community. Or one shot, I think. All right? He's a new guy, so I get how that is. All right? So please come to my Discord. Ask questions. Maybe I play a little music in there. I'm a little DJ sometimes too. So, everybody, have a great day. If I don't see you on my Discord, which I hope I do, see you guys tomorrow.